Hey, how's it going? My name is Darius, and today you're going to learn how to approach streamers so they play your game right away. So specifically, you're going to get a template and a script that will show you what to say to a streamer so that it motivates them to play your game in front of their, audience right away. And you'll also learn how to avoid, streamers putting you off and delaying playing your game, because you need to learn how to get them to play your game as soon as possible, because what happens is, more time passes, the less chances that streamer will play your game. So in this article, in this video, I'm going to give you the tools and the templates so that you can use them to help you improve your chances of grabbing the attention of a streamer so they play your game. So first, I'll talk about what streamers want and they don't want. And this insight is important because once you know what they want and they don't want, you can avoid getting rejected by them, and it will improve your chances of them playing your game. And then after learning these insights, you'll get what I call a conversation starter. It's a template and a script you can use when you approach streamers. Oh, when I say streamer, I mean both YouTubers and Twitch streamers. So basically that's who I'm talking about. Also, you'll get a tracking tool. So this is basically a spreadsheet that will make it easier for you and faster for you to see what's working and what's not working when you're approaching streamers. And it's important to track your efforts because you want to improve your approach and avoid getting rejected, right? And the last thing you want to do is, spend time marketing when you can use those efforts, working on your game. So I did all the heavy lifting for you, and I created these tools, scripts, and spreadsheets, and they're all free to use. And remember, my goal here is always to help you sell more copies of your indie game. And I'll give you tools, strategies, and templates to do all this, right? And I'll show you exactly what to say to a streamer who doesn't know you and hasn't heard about you yet, so they get excited and want to play your game. And like I said, I've done a lot of the heavy lifting for you, but you got to put in the effort too. You got to implement these tools because the best way to get, results is to take action. And it's important to take action because it's not enough just to make a quality game anymore. There are hundreds and thousands of good, quality games that get unnoticed. But you also need to learn how to sell your game idea to players and to streamers so that, you cut through the noise and you get heard in an overcrowded market. And the best way to learn how to sell your game idea to, players and streamers is to take the tools I'm about to share with you, implement them, and learn what you're doing. Because you can hire somebody to do all this, right? But that costs money. Or you can, teach yourself with a bit of, help from me. So that way you have the skill most game devs don't, right? And that is how to sell your game idea to people. So if that sounds good, let's keep going and let's learn how to approach streamers so they play your game right away in front of their audience. So that way you can build your own audience. Okay, let's dive into what does a streamer want? Because discovering this is the key, to their attention. So just like you, streamers want attention, and like you, they want to build an audience, and like you, they want more fans. Also, just like you, they want to make money and create a sustainable business, that supports them now and into the long-term future, right? And also like you, it's getting harder and harder for streamers to get heard and get attention because the market is so oversaturated, and it seems like, everybody wants to be a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer. And that's because to get started, it's pretty easy, right? You just need a camera and you can, set up an account, right? But it's really hard for streamers to get noticed and to build that big audience, right? And this is exactly what you're going through too, right? It's a lot easier to become a game dev now. There's game engines that have made the barrier to entry pretty low, but this also means that there's, more competition. It seems like everybody, wants to be a game dev too, right? And because of this, because it's easier to get into game dev, it's getting harder and harder to get noticed because there's so many games being pumped out every day, right? So my point here is knowing what streamers want and don't want is an important insight because remember, you're not the only game dev that's approaching them. They get bombarded every day with requests from game devs all the time, and their inbox is full of free game keys that they'll never use. And guess what? Game keys aren't what they want. So if you want them to play your game in front of their audience, you need to offer them something that is in their self-interest and not yours. So in other words, you need to show them some sort of advantage to why they should be playing your game. Because you see, when a game dev is self-interested and approach a streamer talking about what they want and ignores, the needs and wants of a streamer, they're going to get ignored too, right? Again, streamers are constantly approached by game devs wanting the same thing, play my game. And then they're like, here's a free game key, play my game, right? This is what they hear all the time. But streamers don't care about your game. They don't care about how long it took you to develop your game. They don't care about how unique your art is or, how cool your gameplay is. And they don't care about your life story and how you became a dev, right? And they don't care if you provide them with a free game key. So what do then streamers want? Well, they want three things I've identified. So the first one is they want more views. At the end of the day, a streamer wants more views. Why? Well, because more views equals more money, obviously. And more money means they can do what they love to do, and that is, make videos. It's just like you. You want to sell games so that you can continue to do what you love, right? And that is, make more games. Number two is they want to be first in things. So being first to talk about a game, being first to talk about, getting a review out, being first to talk about, breaking news, being first to discover a new game that is going to, blow up and be popular. That's what a streamer wants. That's because being first means views. In other words, new means views. So being new and being first means that they also find new viewers. So it's very important to a streamer that they're up to date and not be the last ones to talk about something big that's going on in the gaming world. Okay, number three, what they want is to be recognized as an authority. So from the outside, it looks like most streamers are lumped into one big category, right? Video game content creators, right? One big category. But if you look closely, each streamer has found a niche and carved out their own category. So some streamers focus on gaming news, some focus on reviews, some focus on retro games, some focus on single games, like, they play one single game. Some focus on a genre, and some of them will, change their focus as their, channel gets bigger. So for example, I follow Mortismo Gaming for years because he talked about, CRPGs, which is one of my favorite genres. And now that his channel is getting bigger and he's branching out and talking more about other genres, right? Anyway, my point is that streamers want to be seen as the go-to person for a certain category or topic. Why? Well, because if they can become an authority on that topic, that means they rise in social status and in their peer group, right? And they want social status because it helps them, stand out in the crowd and gives them even more attention. And I mean, this isn't just streamers who want all this, right? We all kind of want this in a way too, right? But my point is, if you can help them with this goal of, becoming an authority and help them rise in social status, then you're bringing something more to the table. You're not just asking something for nothing. You're not just another, game dev, bugging them with the same approach. Like, here's a free game key, right? Play my game. You're basically showing them a huge advantage of why they should work with you, why they should play your game. So what does this have to do with you attracting streamers, right? How does this insight help you, get streamers to pay attention to you? So like I said, streamers want three things. They want more views. They want to be first because new means views, and a streamer wants to be recognized as an authority. So how do these three insights help you get a streamer to play your game? So let's talk about that next. Well, if you want a streamer to play your game, you need to show them how playing your game will get them what they want. If you approach a streamer talking about, what you want, they're not going to listen, right? So you'll improve your chances if you can show and tell a streamer what benefits or advantages they'll get from playing your game in front of their audience. So let's keep going. Let's learn how to craft a message in a way that grabs the streamer's attention and gets them motivated to play your game right away. All right, let's talk about how to approach a streamer so they play your game right away. So 3-step technique. Okay, let's get into exactly what to say and do when approaching a streamer in a way so that they play your game as soon as possible, right? So that's the goal here. So they play your game right away. So the worst is to get, a streamer's attention and they respond, but they don't play your game. So you wait for a week, or two, and then you don't want to keep bugging them. So then you might ask them again, but then, nothing happens. So to avoid, streamers putting your game off and to get them, to play your game right away, here are 3 things you need to do. So follow these steps exactly, and it'll help you improve your success with streamers. So here they are. Okay, so remember, there's 3 techniques. And technique number 1 is discover what benefit you can bring to the table. So remember how it's not about your self-interest. It's about the streamer's self-interest. And remember how I said, streamers basically want 3 things: more views, to be first in things, and want to be recognized as an authority, right? Well, let's now discover what advantage you can bring to a streamer and bridge what you have with what they want. Because once you figure this out, then when you write to them, you'll have a better chance at success. If you already have, a following or even a small fan base, then you have what streamers want, basically viewers and views, right? So your passionate community are, new potential viewers for the streamer. So you already have a huge advantage when you're approaching streamers, when you have, a big community. But I know what you're thinking right now. I don't have a large fan base. That's why I need a streamer, to help me build that big fan base, right? So if you don't have a community that you can bring to the streamer, then your next advantage is your newness. So remember, being first in things is important to a streamer. To streamers, New, again, new means views, right? And the chances are you're developing a game that is new, unique, and innovative, right? And so far that's good, right? So far so good. But you can't just come out and say, hey, want to play my new innovative game? Almost, every indie game is new and innovative in some way, right? So your first task is you need to figure out what makes your game unique and then bridge that with what you have with what the streamer wants. And you need to show them, the advantages they'll get from playing your game. And don't worry right now, we'll get into specifics on how to, bridge what you have with what the streamer wants. But basically what I want to do right now is just introduce the concepts. So once you figure that out, let's move on to technique number 2, and that is look for streamers looking for you. So the biggest problem with game dev is their marketing is, basically unfocused. They'll post on social media, make videos on YouTube, write in their blog, and they'll blast out hundreds, of emails to streamers. And they all hope that, the sheer amount of content and effort that they put out into marketing their game will, get, traction and build critical mass, right? But really what they're doing is, basically throwing whatever they think up on the wall and hope that it sticks. And then, when their efforts get no traction, they lose all motivation to, even try to market their game. So the key here is if you want somebody to do something, it's not about numbers. It's not about, sending 100 emails to streamers and hoping that, at least 10, reply. To get somebody to do something for you, it's about building relationships. So let me explain what I mean when I say it's all about building relationships and not about the numbers. It's counterintuitive, but I suggest to send out less emails and not more. So what most game devs do is they do a, keyword search on YouTube or Twitch. Then they'll make a spreadsheet of all the, the streamers they found. Then they'll put into the work and, find their email or Twitter, so they can DM them. And then, they'll blast out the emails and, they will contact, those streamers on Twitter. And that's the intuitive thing to do, right? It's intuitive to go find like-minded streamers, make a big spreadsheet and contact them, one by one. But let me show you a better strategy. So the counterintuitive approach is to eliminate 80% of the list you've made and just focus on 20 streamers that align with you in your game. Then when you find your top 20 streamers that, align with you the most, what you do is you spend a week researching each one before you contact them. And in a moment, I'll show you a specific action plan to help you do all this to, research your top 20 streamers so it helps you craft a compelling message. But for now, I just want to tell you here that your goal here isn't about numbers, it's about relationships. And the more you get to know your top 20 streamers, the list that you make, and the more you know what they want and they don't want, the better chances you'll craft a message to them that will, grab their attention, that, they'll actually open up the email or you reply back to your DM. But if you do the, the shotgun approach where you make a spreadsheet and just start emailing whoever, then you're doing what the majority of game devs are doing, right? And this is the major cause for rejection, basically. Remember, it's about their self-interest and not about yours. So when a game dev blasts out 100 emails to a bunch of strangers without doing any research, their approach, seems needy. They never begin to think about, the interest of the streamer and what they want. So they get rejected because if you want somebody to do something, you also have to consider what they also want, right? So don't focus on the number of emails you send, focus on the quality of the email and focus on building a relationship with them before you approach them with what you want, right? And besides, think about it this way. If you expect a streamer, to play your game for at least an hour and then put in the time and energy to make a video about your game, then you also have to put in the time too. And by doing this research, you're going to get insights about them that will help you when you contact them. Again, once you know what makes your chosen streamer tick, what they like and they don't like, then you'll craft a message to them that will strike a chord with them and get their attention. Also, another big advantage is by doing research, you're also qualifying them. What I mean is you want to make sure that, their audience is a good fit for your game too, because the fact is a streamer's audience are potential buyers for your game, right? And in marketing, it's really important to know who your target audience is. So by doing this research, you're also qualifying them and making sure that their target audience is also your target audience too. And this doesn't have to be hard, right? All it takes is 30 minutes a day. And so each week you find one like-minded indie-friendly streamer, look for, a streamer that loves the games you love, and better yet, find a streamer that loves games that are similar to your game you're making. So for example, say your biggest inspiration is Portal and you're making a game that was inspired by Portal, then look for streamers who also love Portal, right? you'll have a better chance of grabbing their attention because now you have a commonality with them. Okay, so once you've found your streamers, then in the next 5 days, watch their content 25 minutes a day, so one streamer, and then spend 5 minutes commenting on their video and or on their Twitter, right? So I would suggest for YouTubers, start with their most popular videos, see what their audience resonates with the most. Then watch their newest videos. So again, spend 25 minutes a day watching their content and 5 minutes a day commenting. So for Twitch streamers, check out their highlighted videos and the ones that they saved. And again, this will show you what their audience will resonate with. And again, make it a commitment to catch a live stream and comment. Again, spend 25 minutes and doing that and 5 minutes to comment, right? But here's a quick warning. This isn't your opportunity to spam your game, right? Just be genuinely interested in what they're doing and let them know by commenting on what you like. And sometimes the best marketing is no marketing, right? So you don't want to be there just to market your game. And remember, you're doing this research also to find out if the target audience is your target audience. This is important because when you eventually write your message to the streamer, and I'll show you how to do that soon, it'll be a lot easier to talk to them and build that relationship with them because you both have a commonality. So make a commitment in the next 5 days and spend 30 minutes researching a streamer that aligns with your game and your genre. Okay, once you understand who they are, or what they like and they don't like, then you can begin crafting a compelling message. But first, let's go into technique number 3, the last technique, and then I'll give you the step-by-step action plans. So one more technique, all right? So technique number 3 is write an attention-grabbing message. So like I said, in a moment, I'm gonna give you a template and a script and more details on how to, approach a streamer, but I need to show you one more technique. So most game devs do things backwards when they approach streamers. They first, write the message, or, they find the list and they make a big list. And then they, start, blasting out emails. And then, they'll tailor their message so it doesn't sound like it's coming from a generic, PR person or whatever. So they will, adjust the message. But what I suggest is that before you write a single word, what you do is, do this research. And that's why I spend a lot of time on, techniques number 1 and 2. Because the reason I want you to spend more time researching than, pumping out emails is that it's important that you understand what streamers want and they don't want. And again, that's because when you understand what a streamer wants and doesn't want, it'll be a lot easier to write a message and have them, read it and open it and respond to it, right? Okay, let's move on. Let's say you did your research and you found, your top 20 streamers that align with you in your game. So again, see technique number 1 and number 2. So once you got that done, now you're ready to craft your message. So let me show you how to do that exactly next. So remember, people are self-interested and they're selfish. And I'm not saying this is good or bad. What I'm saying is that you'll have a better chance of grabbing a streamer's attention once you know what they want, right? However, if you approach a streamer talking about what you want, then it's going to be a lot harder to get their attention and you most likely get ignored and rejected. So streamers don't care about the quality of your game or what tech was used to make your game, or how small your studio is, or how much effort was put into making the game, or how long it took to make the game, or that you quit your day job and you took a risk and now you're doing full-time dev, or how unique your gameplay is, or how cool your art is, right? They don't really care about all that stuff. Streamers don't care about all that stuff, right? What they do care about is if playing your game will get them more views, or get them more attention in some way, or help them improve their social status among their peers, right? So when crafting your message, avoid talking about your self-interest and put the focus on what the streamer is going to get. This is exactly what I meant when I said, you want to bridge what you have with what the streamers want, right? So let me show you exactly how to, build that bridge basically. All right, let's talk about the best thing you can bring to the table, and that is something new. Remember how I said new means views? Well, what is new about your game? To help you answer that, what problem are you trying to solve? What are some of the challenges your genre has that you're trying to fix or address to fix, right? This is a lot more interesting to streamers than how many years a dev put into making a game, or how unique the game art is, or how big or small the studio is. It's more interesting to a streamer because they know that's what's interesting to their audience, right? Their audience is hungry for new and novel, right? Their audience wants to see, the next best thing. And it gives a lot of credit to the streamer if they're, they can say, I knew this dev before they got huge, right? So remember, you're not the only one that's making a unique and novel game. There's hundreds and thousands of other game devs that are doing the same thing. But not every game dev is trying to fix a problem in their genre, or at least talk about it, right? Most game devs are more worried about their image and their self-interest to even care about what players want. So game devs resort to, talking about how new and impressive their game is, or they talk about, how much effort was put into the game, and they never even clue into what a player wants. But by explaining how your game is trying to fix issues in your genre, you're no longer talking about yourself, your self-interests. You're now speaking directly to the self-interest, to the player, and then indirectly to, what the streamer wants too. Because players who have problems with their favorite games and their favorite genres will stop and listen when somebody actually hears their complaints and talks about them and is trying to fix them. And this is what streamers basically want. They want the attention of their audience, and they want new viewers, right? So if you can help streamers get the attention of their audience and, help them get new viewers, then you're bringing something new to the table. You're no longer another game dev that is bugging a streamer to, play my game. You're giving them, content that players will want to pay attention to. Because remember, people are selfish and they're self-interested. If you approach them with your wants and needs, then it'll be a lot more difficult to get them to do what you want, right? But if you come to them and show them and tell them how, playing your game will benefit them, then they'll listen. This is why I'm suggesting that you talk about how your game is trying to fix a big problem in your genre, right? You're no longer talking about your selfish needs. You're addressing the selfish needs of players and, the audience, right? They have a problem. They want to be heard. They want somebody to come in and fix that problem. And this is what grabs players' attention. And players' attention is also what, basically what streamers want too, right? Again, what you're bringing to the table here is, when you do all this stuff, is player attention. Okay. Let's move on to more concrete, more tangible how-tos, right? Let me give you an email script and a tracking tool next. All right, in this section, I want to talk about 3 simple action steps on how to get a streamer to play your game right now. So to help you create a compelling message that motivates a streamer to play your game in front of their audience, so it grows your wish list and you sell more game copies when you launch, then here are 3 action steps you need to take. Okay, step 1 is figure out what problem is your game solving in your genre. Okay, so remember, before approaching a streamer, you need to bring something to the table. You need to show the streamer an advantage as to why they should play your game. And you need to bridge that gap between what you have and what they want. And ultimately, what streamers want is, an audience attention. So how do you do this exactly? Well, to help you figure this out, I want you to answer me these questions. What problem is your game solving in your genre? So to help you, think of a challenge or frustration or issue your genre has, and tell me about how your game aims to solve those problems. And this is important to figure out because this is far more compelling than talking about how many hours you put into your game, or your story of why you became a game dev, or how cool or unique your game is, right? This is compelling because it's what players want to hear about. Players have problems, challenges, and issues with games and genres all the time. And they never get tired of hearing about these problems, right? And these challenges and frustrations, especially when somebody talks about them all the time. So think about it this way. Say your car has a small tire leak, and your car is sitting there in your driveway right now, and it's slowly losing air. And no matter how busy you get in your day or how distracted you get in your day, right? In the back of your mind, this small tire leak is still bugging you, right? And so let's, for example, say you're taking a break and you're surfing, YouTube for 10 minutes. Then on your feed, you notice a video with the title, How to Fix a Slow Leak Fast and Easy in Under 20 Minutes. If you see that title, you're going to click that right away, right? Because it's something in the back of your mind that's bugging you and you want it fixed, right? It's the same thing with gamers, right? They have a tire leak problem all the time. They have nagging issues with games and genres that are always in the back of their mind, right? And when a video comes up about that problem and how there's a fix for that problem, they'll perk up and click and listen, right? So focus on player problems, challenges, issues, because that's what they're self-interested in. And that's what, gets views for streamers, right? Also, remember, what you're doing here is bridging what you've got with what streamers want. What streamers want is viewers' attention and new viewers. So to stand out, talk about what, most gamers talk about, problems, issues, and challenges they have with games and with, genres. And this is more attention grabbing than talking about yourself. And I'll show you soon exactly how to do this all exactly and how to, wrap this up into your message. But right now, I want you to figure out what problem is your game solving in your genre. Okay, next, here's step number 2. And that is name me 3 games that inspired you to make your game? Okay, this one seems a little bit weird, but trust me, I'm gonna go somewhere with this one. So tell me, what are 3 successful games that got you into game dev? Or another way to think about it is, what are 3 popular games that are similar to your game? I'm asking you this because when approaching a streamer, you want some commonality with them. You want to build, rapport with them. Remember, the goal isn't to blast out 70 emails. It's not about numbers. It's about, relationships. And the best way to start that relationship is to talk about what you both have in common. And you got to be genuine, right? So for example, if you don't like Portal and the streamer loves it, loves Portal, don't act like you do. And that's okay if that streamer isn't a good fit for you. And more importantly, their audience isn't a good fit for you, right? Remember, you want to know your target audience and not try to appeal to everybody. You have a better chance of marketing your game if you focus your marketing on, your target audience and talk to them and only them. Why? Well, because people want to feel like, oh, this is exactly made for me. But if you try to appeal to everybody, then you're just going to alienate everybody. It's like trying to make a meat lover's vegan pizza, right? You can't appeal to everybody. So focus on the quality of the streamer and not the quantity. And remember, you want to eliminate 80% of most streamers. And I know this is counterintuitive, but if you focus on the quality 20%, then you'll have a higher chance of grabbing their attention. Also, you can't put in all this research and time it takes to grab attention when your goal is to send out 100 emails. So unless you hire somebody, you just don't have the time, to put in the quality work it takes to grab a streamer's attention. So it's far better to focus on quality, building relationships and qualifying the streamer than to, pump out 80 or 100 emails. And it's okay to eliminate 80% of them because chances are their audience isn't your audience. So it doesn't make sense to waste your time, approaching these streamers who aren't a good fit for you. So come up with 3 games that inspired you or are similar to your game. All right, if you're confused about why you're doing all of this, don't worry, all of this will come together soon. All right, the last step is find 20 streamers, YouTubers or Twitch streamers that love those 3 games. Okay, you know how you came up with 3 games that inspired you or similar to the game that you're making? Well, now what I want you to do is to do a keyword search for those 3 games on YouTube and Twitch. So find 20 streamers who also love these 3 games that you love and inspired you to make the game you're making. And remember, the goal isn't quantity, it's quality. You want to find 20 because you can put more time and effort into each streamer before you contact them. However, if your goal is quantity and you just want to, pump out 70 or 100 emails, then you're doing what most game devs are doing. And they think by the sheer numbers, by the sheer volume, they'll get better results. But what happens is these game devs don't stand out because this is what most game devs do anyway. So you just become another, person trying to, bug a streamer with free game keys. So it's more important to focus on the quality of the relationship rather than the quantity. And again, why? Well, because it means you'll increase your chances of them paying attention to you in your game and playing it sooner, right? And that's because once you understand what the streamer wants and doesn't want, you can craft a more compelling message. And if you just aim for quantity and send out 70 or 100 emails without understanding what a streamer really wants, then your chances of success will be low because, again, you're pushing them with your self-interest. Okay, to help you with these 3 steps, I made what I call my top 20 streamer list. It's a tool I made in Google Sheets, and all you have to do is click the link in the description below and it'll open up the spreadsheet, and then you just download it and open it up and open it in your own G Drive so that way you can edit it. So once you click on the link and open up that spreadsheet, there'll be more details on how to use that spreadsheet. So let's now put everything you've learned into a compelling message. And the idea here is to focus on what streamers want and less on what you want, right? Okay, here's the script you can use. So in the subject line, it's really important to grab their attention because without, a compelling, subject line, they're not going to open the email. And I found out that the best way to grab a person's attention is to ask their opinion. So here's how it goes. Can I get an opinion on a game similar to, and then fill in the blank what their favorite game is. And that's when you did the research, right? Then in the message body, here's how the script goes. Hey, and then, fill in their name. I've been watching your YouTube videos or Twitch streams, and I noticed that one of your favorite games is, fill in the blank. And I'm writing to you because you know how, this genre or game has this, specific problem or challenge here. Well, I'm making a game similar to, that game, but I'm trying to fix, and then you fill in your problem or frustration in those brackets. Anyway, it keeps going. That's why I'm approaching you, because after watching your videos, I know how much you understand this genre, and I would love it for you to play the game and tell me your opinions and thoughts. And if you find my approach in fixing, the problem and challenge is interesting and unique, then I think your audience would find it interesting too. So if you want to try out the game and see for yourself how I'm trying to fix, the problem, then here's the game key, or you can download the demo here. Thanks again for your time, and then your name and your sign off, basically, right? So if you're feeling frustrated trying to figure out how to write a compelling message and whatever you write sounds lame, then here's how I can help you. No cost, no expectations. Send me an email to help@howtostartagamecompany.com, or send me a friend request on Discord, and my username is Darius Conrad, and all this information will be in the link the description below. And tell me specifically where you're having issues writing a compelling message for streamers. And I'll ask you some questions to try to understand your situation. And then from there, I'll give you some techniques and some tools to help you with your message that you're going to send out to streamers. Again, there's no cost, no expectations. The more I help game devs, the better, my own content gets too. So it's a win-win for the both of us. Okay, in this section, I put everything you've learned into a neat little checklist you can follow, so you make sure that when you approach a streamer, you know what to say and get them to play your game, as soon as possible, right? Okay, here's the checklist. Number 1 is understand that if you want somebody to do something for you, it's more about their self-interest and less about yours. Number 2 is majority of game devs fail at getting a streamer to respond because when they approach them, they lead with their own self-interest and never think of, the interest of the streamer. Okay, number 3 is you have to find an advantage you can, bring to the table. And to do this, you need to understand what a streamer wants and doesn't want. So number 4 is streamers want 3 things, right? They want more views. And again, new means views, right? Number 2, they want to be first to talk about what's going on in the gaming world. And number 3, they want to be recognized as an authority. So that way they become, the go-to person in their niche and dominate a category in their YouTube, Twitch world. And number 5 is you need to bridge what you have with what the streamers want. And number 6 is to bridge that gap between what you have and what streamers want, is to focus on what new ways your game is solving, in the problems in your genre. So remember my tire leak, problem. If you have a problem that's on the back of your mind all the time and it won't go away, then you'll perk up and pay attention when somebody talks about it. And it's the same with gamers, right? They have problems with games and genres that are always nagging them, and they never get tired of people talking about those problems. So use that as leverage or a way to show an advantage of why a streamer should play your game in front of their audience. Number 7 is look for streamers looking for you. Number 8 is it's not about the number of emails you send out, it's the quality of the relationship. So in other words, it's better to find 20 streamers that align with you and your game than it is to, shotgun 100 emails to any, gaming streamer there is. And number 9 is use my top 20 streamer list, the tool, the spreadsheet that I made for you to help you find, the 20 streamers that align with you and your game. And in there, it will show you exactly step by step on how to use that tool. And number 10 is also find streamers whose audience will also be your audience. If you want streamers, audience to visit your Steam page and wishlist your game, then you need to narrow your focus and target your main audience too. So remember, you got to focus your marketing, go where your target audience is hanging out. Okay, number 11 is for each streamer, spend at least 1 week researching them. Make a commitment that you'll spend, 20 minutes or 25 minutes a day watching their content every day and for 5 days. Also, don't forget to spend, 5 minutes commenting on their stuff. Number 12 is you're doing this research because you want to find out a commonality and build rapport with a streamer before you approach them. And you want to understand the streamer's audience too. You want to make sure that they're a good fit for you and your game. Okay, number 13 is to help you write a compelling message to a streamer so they pay attention to you and play your game. You need to bring to them content that their audience is interested in. So number 14 is, what is the audience interested in? Well, new games that are doing new things that gamers haven't seen before. So figure out what problem your game is solving in your game genre, because that's what players are interested in. This is how you bridge the gap between what you have and what the streamers want. And number 15 is list 3 games that inspired you to make your game, or 3 games that are similar to your game that you're making, right? 3 popular games. Number 16 is now take all those 3 games and find 20 streamers that also love those games. So like I said, in my top 20 streamers list, the tool, the spreadsheet that I made for you, there'll be specific instructions on how to do exactly all of that. Number 17, now after you've done your research, use the script I gave to you to email the streamer. Then next week, do the same thing and spend 30 minutes a day researching the next streamer on the list, and then find out what they like and they don't like, and try to understand their audience, why their audience is there, and then see if their audience is a good fit for you and do the same thing, right? And number 18 is don't give up if you get no reply. You might not get a reply at first, but that's normal, right? So be determined. You've done your research and you know that this streamer will love your game and want to talk about it if they only gave you a chance, right? So don't give up and keep, nudging them. And again, in my spreadsheet, my top 20 streamers list, that tool I made, I'll show you exactly how to do that. So you can download that in the description below. And 19 is, if this all feels frustrating and you want me to help you along with the process, then email me at help@howtostartagamecompany.com or send me a friend request on Discord. And again, my username is Darius Conrad. I'll give you the link in the description. Again, there's no cost, there's no expectations, no obligations. I'll ask you questions to understand your situation better. And then once I know your situation better, I'll give you tools and strategies to help you, approach streamers so that they actually pay attention to you and open your email and play your game. All right, so here's your action plan right now. So my goal in this blog, in this video, is to help you sell more copies of your indie game. And my goal is to show you business strategies so that your game studio grows. And also my goal is to help you, market your game so that you make enough profits to support you and your team, so that way you can, continue making more games, right? So your studio grows. And I've given you my best tools and techniques that I've, developed personally and used personally that have worked for me, right? So for a quick story, from year 2000 to 2005, I failed miserably at creating profitable business ideas. But in 2005, I had my first successful startup, scancanada.ca. And then in 2009, I built another successful startup, howtoscan.ca. And then in 2009, I had my third successful startup, doing 3D, 2D game maps for game devs. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I know what it's like to fail and not succeed. I know what it's like to, contact people, and especially people who can help you, grow your audience and grow your company. But when you contact them, you get very little response or none at all, right? They basically ghost you or reject you, right? But after a lot of trial and error, I eventually learned to get people to do something for you. It's less about you and more about them, right? And again, my point here is, what I'm trying to share with you is exactly what I've used when trying to grow my, own companies. And it's the same techniques I use when I consult with game devs who pay me, my fee, right? So I've given you my best stuff, and that has worked for me and is working for other game devs. And these aren't just ideas, basically. These are valuable tools, right? So to get the best out of these tools, you got to put in some effort too. You can't just, watch YouTube videos and feel like you're learning, right? Too many people just watch tutorials and fall into what I call the vortex of learning, right? And they never, see actual tangible results. It's almost like an addiction, right? They watch a lot of tutorials, but it doesn't help their life in any way. It just wastes time. I know this because I've been there, right? I don't know how many C++ tutorials I've watched. So it's important to take action. And then when you take action, it's important to see if it's working or not. If it's not working, iterate and take another action. You'll eventually get closer to your goal by taking incremental steps this way. So do this right now, and I'm serious. Go open a Google document and cut and paste these 3 questions, and they'll be in the description below, or you can read the full article. There's a link there too. So the 3 questions are: what problem is your game solving in your genre? What 3 games inspired me to make this game? And what 3 popular games are similar to my game, right? So take 10 to 15 minutes to answer those questions. And this is important because if you want streamers to pay attention to you and so that they play your game as soon as possible, you need to build a compelling message. And game devs can no longer, just blast out hundreds of emails to streamers and then they hope to get some response. Your marketing efforts need to be a little bit more focused, right? So once you answer those questions, open my top 20 streamer list spreadsheet, in the description below, and then use that tool to help you start finding streamers that align with you in your game. So remember, it's about quality and not quantity. So focus your efforts and don't, just throw things up on the wall and they hope they all stick. In other words, don't just blast out 70 emails and hope that, you get some response, right? So find 20 streamers that are like-minded, like games you like like the game that inspired your game and are indie friendly. And spend a few hours watching their content and comment on their stuff too, right? So follow them on Twitter, engage with them, and start building that relationship. And I mean, they don't even have to reply back or even notice your comments, but this research and effort will help you write a compelling message that grabs their attention. So again, remember, it's not about numbers, but about relationships. Then after your research and you feel like you understand what that streamer wants and likes and doesn't like, you can now send them a compelling message. And to help you write that compelling message, use that script that I shared with you. And you can find that script actually in the description below in the tool that I made in the spreadsheet. And remember, if you're feeling frustrated, then you can always message me for free help. My email is help@howtostartagamecompany.com or send me a friend request on Discord. Again, username is Darius Conrad. And tell me where you're stuck and I'll help you with the best I can with free tools and tips and strategies. So send me a message there and I'll be glad to figure out what your situation is, learn more about your game, and see how I can help you find streamers so they play your game. All right, that was a big one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Again, my name is Darius, and good luck with game dev and good luck marketing your game. All right, see ya. Talk to you soon. Bye.